Yeah, that's what I'd like to know, Sheena.
Uh-oh.
It's a lie.
What money? What money?
Okay, you gonna start crying now, Sheena?
That's
I
bullying.
just think it's funny. I started this thinking Molly was the problem, and now I switched to thinking Sheena's the problem.
I'm kind of agreeing with Elise.
Sheena barely has time to catch her breath before the words hit her like a punch, accusations flying, voices rising, and suddenly the cameras catch that flicker. The very moment the room flips. 1 minute, everyone seems ready to haul Molly over the coals, and the next, Sheena finds every eye turning toward her. Not with solidarity, but suspicion. As if her simple existence is suddenly a crime. These aren't strangers. These are people she spent months, sometimes years, trying to impress, to adapt for, to beg for just a hint of understanding. And all it takes is a single question from Molly to pivot the mood. What's Sheena really doing with her money? Forget who paid for dinner or who bought gifts. We're talking about a grown woman's livelihood, twisted into a character test for everyone to judge. Molly doesn't shout at first. She doesn't need to. Her reputation as the matriarch, the shot caller, the seasoned survivor, has always been less about the words she picks and more about the way she studies you. Like she's weighing your worth right there in front of the nation. If you're new here, Molly is Forrest's mother, fiercely protective. And sometimes you wonder if that protection is about Forrest or about Molly herself staying in charge. Then there's Forrest, the son forever stuck between guilt and longing for approval, trying to build a love story with Sheena, who crossed oceans for this relationship, now wondering if she's bargained away her dignity at customs. This is the trio everyone is glued to, because every argument, every glance, always threads back to the question: when family meets romance, who wins and who ends up paying the price? So as the accusations of secret payments and hidden loyalties swirl, you see the room tighten around Sheena, the temperature spiking even among those who'd called Molly a bully 5 minutes ago. Suddenly, it's not just Molly pressing her, it's an entire cast covertly teamed up, pressing for answers that no one would dare ask their own partner on live TV. Family versus lover, independence versus obligation, everyone's loyalty hangs in the balance, and you can feel the ground shifting, leaving Sheena wondering if anyone will still be standing with her once the truth explodes. Somehow, Sheena's paycheck transforms into the hottest topic of the season, with every cast member acting like her wallet is the holy grail and Molly is its sworn guardian. What starts as one woman minding her financial business twists into an obsession, as Molly pushes every conversation back to the same baited hook: where is Sheena's money going, and why won't she spell out every transaction in perfect detail? Viewers have seen Molly pull this move before, couching suspicion and concern, asking question after question with a frown that says, "Worried mom?" but a tone that sounds more like undercover auditor. It's a familiar dance. Molly insists she just wants the truth, couldn't sleep until she gets it, while Sheena tries to answer but ends up snared by things she never thought she'd have to justify to strangers, much less to Forrest's circle. Caught in the crossfire is Forrest, unable to take a stand, swaying back and forth like a porch swing in the chaos. He's not a villain, just a guy paralyzed by the idea of hurting either the mother who raised him or the woman he's built a future around. This is a classic son torn between two homes, his mother's version of love, loud and suffocating. And Sheena's, quiet, careful, shaped by years of making her own way. Meanwhile, Sheena is left to navigate not just a room full of skeptics, but a culture where every dollar sent back home means something more than a transaction, something that's tangled up in pride and responsibility. Sheena's silence in moments says more than words ever could. She feels every stare, every snide remark, every accusation that she's hiding something, even as she tries to remind people that, in her experience, helping family is a sign of respect, not deception. As if things weren't tense enough, the rest of the cast starts echoing Molly's doubts. Maybe it's peer pressure, maybe it's their own insecurities about money and loyalty, or maybe misery just loves company. Suddenly, Sheena's the outlier, while Molly's cynicism looks like common sense, and nobody wants to be the odd one out. But then, Buried in the noise, a new detail slips out. Sheena quietly mentions sending money to Forrest, the very son everyone wants to protect. Enough to flip the entire narrative and leave half the cast speechless, their motives hanging in the air, suddenly not as pure as they seemed. No one's voice drops. Not for a second. The tension keeps building, with Forrest and Molly pushing Sheena harder, both demanding proof, bank statements, receipts, anything that could finally end this relentless inquisition. Instead of a real conversation, Sheena faces a trial by fire, sitting front and center while her every answer gets dissected in public as though she's auditioning for honesty points in front of a hungry crowd. The word transparency gets thrown around like a shield, but the way they say it slices right through compassion. Forrest's hands shake as he tries to look neutral, glancing back at Molly for reassurance, even as Sheena's voice trembles, cornered with no one stepping in to throw her a lifeline. The room gets quieter, not with peace, but with breathless anticipation, everyone waiting to see if she'll finally snap or shatter. It happens in a crack of emotion that no one can ignore. Sheena's tears fall, and for a split second, the tone shifts. The camera finds her face and lingers, as if processing heartbreak is entertainment, the crowd silent but hungry for reaction. Some viewers think the tears are proof she's overwhelmed by guilt, but anyone who's ever felt ganged up on recognizes that look: a person who's exhausted by having to defend her choices over and over in a place that feels less and less like a home, more like a courtroom. Soon, the room breaks into whispers, half pity, half doubt, the empathy so thin it might snap. As Molly repeats her lines about just wanting what's best, someone quietly points out past scenes. Remember Molly swinging her weight around in earlier episodes, demanding Forrest pick sides, hinting Sheena's culture is an issue? In flashes, glimpses of previous family drama surface, hinting this interrogation isn't about loving concern but a power struggle that's played out for seasons, always ending the same way. Even Forrest changes his stance, wavering first for his mother, then for Sheena, trying to support whoever looks more vulnerable in the moment, never truly picking a side. Nobody seems to catch Sheena's quiet admission that she's been supporting Forrest with her own money, not just her family. The cast ignores it. The viewers? They catch every second, wondering if the real story just slipped by while everyone was busy playing detective. Every relationship runs on invisible contracts, but for Forrest, the fine print blurs until he can barely read his own signature. He stands trapped in that classic support triangle, forced to split loyalty between the mother who raised him and the woman asking him to build a life of their own. Each has a claim. Each expects something that sounds simple: love, protection, honesty. But as Forrest's job comes up short and his hours pile up, the emotional weight adds to his sleep debt, stress drawing him tighter against the glass between expectation and reality. Every paycheck feels like a test. Can he ever provide enough to silence both Molly and the growing doubts in his own heart? His struggle with endless visa paperwork reveals not laziness, but exhaustion, and a quiet alarm that he's in over his head. The more Molly nitpicks Sheena and peers into Forrest's mix of bills and paychecks, the less space either of them has to breathe. Molly's scrutiny soon crosses the line from concern to obsession, eyes narrowed, voice lower, each question tinged with distrust rather than empathy. For her, offering to help is always laced with a sense that help is owed, or confession is expected in return. Sheena, meanwhile, is forced to defend values rooted across continents. In her world, sharing income with her parents is respectful, not shameful, and independence isn't measured by cutting off the people who raised you. Yet, to everyone watching, Sheena's support for her family comes off suspicious, as though helping others automatically means hiding something. It's a cultural standoff written straight into the contracts of reality TV, where double standards thrive. Some castmates escape scrutiny, generational money, bailouts, messy pasts forgiven, while Sheena's every move is put under a microscope. The audience can only wonder why her sacrifices are weaponized while others are brushed aside. The classic American dilemma rears up again. Are you supposed to outgrow your roots or bring your family with you? Sheena's left spinning in the double bind. No action pleases everyone. Every choice is ammunition. In the air lingers the question that nobody dares ask out loud. Will Sheena ever earn acceptance? Or will Molly's grip over Forrest end any hope before it can even begin? If you listen closely in those final minutes, the whole room seems to freeze when Sheena gets asked the question that pierces all the noise. Will she leave her family behind for Forrest? Or is this impossible dream finally breaking under its own weight? The cameras linger not on words, but faces. Sheena searching for resolve, Forrest suddenly childlike, desperate for any sign that he's enough, Molly poised to deliver her verdict. The stakes have never felt higher, because this isn't about bank transfers or rules anymore. It's about belonging, identity, and the agony of having to choose who you disappoint to get a piece of happiness. Molly's closing statement comes wrapped in the soft tone that always has sharp edges, telling Sheena she supports their relationship as long as Sheena, in her words, is not deceptive. But it doesn't sound like an olive branch. It lands more like a test. She wants Sheena to fail, a warning that her approval and maybe even Forrest's future are on thin ice. Was Molly afraid of losing her son to a woman from another world? Or was the game always about holding every card, ensuring Forrest is never fully out of reach? Some will say this is just a mother's love, clumsy and fierce, scared he'll be used or abandoned. But with every boundary Molly crosses, you start to wonder if her love is a shield or a leash, and if Forrest is being protected or kept in a kind of loving captivity. Forrest, for his part, tries once more to push through, declaring aloud how much he wants Sheena with him. Eyes wide with hope and nerves, still not fully independent, still needing someone to anchor him. The mountain ahead, immigration hurdles, salary gaps, stacks of forms looks taller than ever. But for a flicker of a moment, Sheena meets Forrest's gaze and says she's ready, despite everything, to take that leap. There's a momentary charge in the air, the sense that maybe these two could finally break the script, make it work, snatch love from the jaws of drama. But as Molly hovers at the edge, you see it, she's not letting go. Not yet. In every unresolved glance, there's the unspoken threat. One sponsor's signature can still hold Sheena's fate. The audience is left turning over the biggest question of all. When is family support a gift? And when does it become a ransom? Would you choose love if the cost was everything you've ever known? Or can you rewrite the rules for a chance at something more? As secrets simmer and next steps hang in the balance, nobody quite knows who will win or what will be lost. These choices don't end tonight, and neither will this chaos. If you think the storm has passed, wait until you see who comes knocking on that K1 door next.